Let's focus on the meaning of these words from the Edgar Cayce readings. To bring hope, to bring cheer, to bring joy, yea, to bring a smile again to those whose face and heart are bathed in tears and in woe, is making that divine love shine in thy own soul. Then smile, be joyous, and be glad, for the day of the Lord is at hand. Thank you. So this evening we have another of the dynamic duo that started the Legacy program, and we're very excited that Henry Reed, PhD, is here with us this evening. He is director of the Edgar Cayce Institute of Intuitive Studies. He is a research psychologist specializing in the invention and application of new methods for intensive transformational work centered in dreams, energetic healing, and creativity. Among his many publications are 6 books dealing with the enhancement of intuition, Awakening Your Psychic Powers, Edgar Cayce on Mysteries of the Mind, Channeling Your Higher Self, Dream Solutions, Dream Medicine, and The Intuitive Heart. And one of my most my favorite ones of late is his co-authorship of Contemporary Cayce, which takes some of the tough subjects in the readings and explains them in clear, intelligent language for the contemporary person. These are books that are current. They're in the bookstore. We'd love to have you take a look at them. Know yourself to be yourself. Know you are one with all. And Channeling Your Higher Self. So if you would please, let's send some energy and love the way of Dr. Henry Reed.
Thank you for that, Ellen. Wonderful introduction. Thank you. I can hear myself. Is the mic working? Okay, good. One of the things that's happening for me is I'm losing my hearing. And since I normally, anyway, get to talking enthusiastically, I'll hit the shouting without even knowing it. So if that happens, will you just sort of give me a subtle, without throwing me off too much? We're going to do some really interesting things this evening. And you've had a whole day of psychic training. Now what, huh? What can you do with that? What's it all about? What was the point of all that? Okay. So what's going to happen is I'm going to tell you a dream that I had the very first day I came to Virginia Beach 42 years ago. And I've been working with that dream ever since. And I think just recently, I tried something, and you guys being the experts and having a day's worth of psychic training, I figure this is the perfect group, this is the perfect opportunity for debut performance. Okay, all righty. Well, let me tell you the dream first. So, the dream is, it's dark out. We're gathered together for research into enlightenment. Can you relate to that? That seemed kind of like, I could tell what I was dreaming about, huh? Yeah, we can't. It was a day like this. It was really crummy. I grew up in Southern California. We don't think of the beach like this. Gray, overcast, and that was the day I arrived in Virginia Beach. And I went out to Charles Thomas's farm in Sandbridge, and I slept upstairs, and this was the dream that I had. We're gathered together for research into enlightenment, which is what Cayce says we're doing. That's the purpose of our coming here together, the Earth School. I always liked when I got out of school a lot better than being in school. So maybe we'll get out of school tonight. You've had a whole day of training. Maybe we'll get out of school. Anyway, we're gathered together for research enlightenment, but we don't know what to do. And we're bumping into one another. So there he is in the dream. We're going around. Do you know where enlightenment is? How are we supposed to do enlightenment? Everyone's bumping into one another. We've come together to research enlightenment, but we don't know what we're doing. Then suddenly, that's special dream stuff. Suddenly, that means you don't know why or whatever, but it just happens. Did you ever have that happen to you? You know, it was one day you thought would be an ordinary day, and then suddenly something happens. We start dancing together. Suddenly we start dancing together, and we're dancing in this big circle. And is the term right, al-Iman right and al-Iman left? You know that kind of thing? You're going around like this? That kind of deal? So you're meeting folks. So that's what we're doing, this big circle. We're doing the meet and greet, going around the circle. And everybody is holding up, it's a round thing. I didn't have the word mandala back then. It was a round thing. I called it a shield, kind of like if you were a native or something, you'd have this shield because it was round. And it had designs on it. And everybody had one, and everyone was different. Now, what was happening was this. As we go around, we'd look at one another's sign, and we'd recognize each other from it, like it was really communicating something important. And it was that recognition. Can you imagine then people going around and recognizing one another? So there's all this recognition going on. And all of a sudden, a big fountain of sparks shoot up. And we can see, and we realize we have found our method of enlightenment. It's in this dance. So then all I had to do was figure out what was this dance all about? What was it referring to? So that was a dream, about 1973, somewhere in there. And the first thing that came of it was working in the children's camp, or the Casey camp, maybe they call it, out where I live now. Kids in their dreams, I was realizing the kids were having dreams about one another because they'd be there in a week eating and so on. They wouldn't like hear you go back to different hotels and different kind of stuff. They were stuck together, interacting. Jack the fireman can tell you all about it. He's a campy goopy. So from that, we developed a process that's been going around for a long time called the Dream Helper Ceremony, where people would dream for somebody. And in a circle of dreamers, we were, in a sense, a healing circle was beginning to recreate what was happening in that dream. This is some long history, because this dream, like I said, is over 40 years old. I've been working with it. It ultimately led to being invited here to do the psychic training conferences for so many years, led to a whole program around the question, how can people do that? How can they do that? It's a pure Edgar Casey derived kind of activity, because what it shows is the power of altruism. About a third of the people remember a dream on a given day. They know from doing surveys. But when people volunteer to dream for somebody, the research has shown almost everybody remembers a dream. So that kind of act for somebody else also then helps the person. Now that's Casey, that our soul grows through service to others. One of the things that came out of this work for me was the image of a tree, a fruit tree, because often we ask, well, how much do you serve and when's enough and so on. I got a lot of livestock, and how much can I put into one who's sick before I have to maybe say, I can't do any more, I just can't do any more, and have to let it go. How do you make those? Someone comes to you and they want something. How much can you give to them, and what do you need to hold for yourself? And out of this work became the image of the tree. And the tree grows the fruit. And why does the tree grow the fruit? Because it wants people to eat that fruit and spread their seed. And all of us grow fruit. And that's what we want people to take our fruit and eat of our fruit and grow of our fruit. But we don't like people to eat on our leaves and take our branches, and because we need those to grow. I know I need a lot of time and quiet in order to come and do what I do. Each of us have those things that are our branches and leaves. And this is one of the things that's come out of something that's fairly unique to the Edgar Cayce or ARE membership, which is the ability to come together and work intuitively together. And something like that solution of the tree and fruit comes out of being able to have a non-intellectual discussion, a discussion that's coming from a different place. So that's my first task, is to help us learn how do we move into this different place that we're going to talk from. The enlightenment, when it happens, that is, when I know myself to be myself and one with all, when I recognize that everything I meet is self, when I realize I'm an aspect of God coming to know itself and embracing everything as a part of that, our eyes will not register any different information. If we took photographs of the world, here I am enlightened and I'm looking out my camera, all the photographs would look just the same. It's not going to look different to your eyes. So how is it going to be different? How am I going to look at you and you're going to look at me and say, I am me and yet I am you? I know that you know that I am you. What you know is that I know that you're me too. I know that you know that I love you. What you know is that I know you love me too. Now this came to me sitting in the bathroom. We don't have a door handle hand. Well, here's one right here. Well, this is even better. Look at this box. You see it stuck there on the wall? You know you don't. You're imagining it stuck to the wall. You can only see its existence there at the wall. The stuck part you're bringing to it as a perceptual assumption. Okay? A perceptual assumption. Now, the fact that you and I are separate, that's an illusion created by a perceptual assumption. And one of my goals here this evening, play magician, is to pop that illusion. Okay? So, we're going to start with something actually the opposite of usually the training we get, which is how to be something other than what you are already. You got to try for, you got to develop and whatever. And this is actually almost the reverse of that. I'd like you to turn your attention inward to your breathing right now. Just become aware of your breathing. You can sit back if you like, but you notice a lot of you, when you start to pay attention to your breathing, the first thing you do is you grab a hold of it. So I want you to let go of grabbing a hold of the breathing. Instead, we're going to learn something from the breathing. We'll use the affirmation. I can be aware of my breathing and let it be. I'm learning how to let go and enjoy letting life breathe me. So don't make breathing a job. It's a natural function. That's right. Then you turn this whole thing into a job, and as soon as you turn this psychic development into a job, you've separated yourself from your natural talent because now you're trying to improve. So don't do that. So you're going to have information come to you through a kind of a receiving natural process. And if you're out there grabbing stuff, you want to have information in your hands? No. We're going to be the information, not hold it in our hands. The fact that you and I are one is something we experience and be. It's not something I can hold in my hands and use on you. Except I love you. Now I got to take you with all your warts too. But that's a secret part of it. You know, when we grabbed onto our breath to make it slower or whatever, that's an act of separation and judgment. You immediately assume, I'm not breathing right. Hey, breathe, let's make it right. And you propose some kind of a judgment. You kick yourself out of Eden right away. But it's in Eden where we can experience our oneness. And then we can take it, if we want, into the world of separation, but we've got that feeling with us. Okay, so let's go back to our breathing. I can be aware of my breathing and let it be. I'm learning how to let go and let life breathe me. Now, what I'd like you to do is this. Can you relax as the breath flows out? Empathize with the feeling of the exhalation. Let the natural exhalation be your teacher, and notice what it's like when the air flows out. And empathize with that feeling and say to yourself, I can learn how to relax as the air flows out, and allow yourself to become more and more relaxed with each exhalation. But what you're going to do is this. It's kind of like having the sun go down so that you can see the stars. As you tone down, as you dial back your desire to control your breathing, as you dial back your perception that you are doing the breathing, the more you relax, you can dial that back. You can start to have the experience that breathing is happening. It's not you doing it, it is happening. And that's a very different kind of perception. And it can come from the more you are relaxed, your body doesn't have those sensations of effort, it becomes easier for you to perceive the breathing as if it's coming on its own. And so I'd like you to experience that, because you can experience that God brings life to us without us making an effort. And that's important for you to experience at this moment. You don't have to make the effort. In fact, what is so special about this is that you can actually have good reason to feel grateful for the incoming breath, because you're so relaxed. Well, if it was up to me, I wouldn't be able to breathe. Thank goodness life is breathing me. If you can get into that spot, trusting you've been breathing for years without pumping it yourself. Life breathes you. It's been taken care of. So here you can witness it. Here's a chance for you to actually experience something that has tremendous consequences for how you will experience other things. I'm not asking you to do anything weird, anything different. Just be aware of what is. That is, you're breathing 24/7. It's because of the life force. It's not because you are a competent, diligent, show up to work every day kind of person. You could be an utter cad, a sloppy, worthless person, and you would still be breathing every second. It would be happening. And all I'm asking you is treat yourself now to the opportunity to discover what it's like to feel yourself so passive that you couldn't take a breath if your life depended on it. And yet breaths are coming. And if that isn't a reason for feeling gratitude, I don't know what is. So, I'm not expecting you to do that. Because as you do that, this is kind of like a mind-body thing. And we know from the study of autogenic training, for example, the more and more you relax and you start, your arms are showing less and less tension, the breaths start coming, endorphins start to happen, especially with the giving of the thanks, the gratitude for the breath. So let's try this again, just very gently. It doesn't need to take a long time, and we have other things to enjoy. Once we can get to this place, it's relaxing as the air flows out, saying thank you as the air comes in, and noticing in the chest, the heart. The heart responds to gratitude. And you can tell if you're feeling genuinely grateful for these breaths because you can feel the energy start to build in the chest area. And in fact, if you'll allow yourself a little smile, you can even feel endorphins. It's kind of like a rush that happens through your body. That's a very nice little high. Well, the reason we're doing it is we're getting into what we might call heart awareness. We could call it operating through our feeling, and yet at the same time, there is something reliable here. We are learning to trust the breath, so trusting is going on. And we're learning how to trust our intuition. So this trusting of the breath, trusting of inspiration is important. And when we genuinely give thanks for our breath, when we're genuinely grateful, the heart becomes trustworthy, because no longer are we dealing with hopes or fears, because we're acceptant and, you might say, luxuriating in the way things are. The Greeks would say when you get into gratitude, then you're in harmony with the earth's vibrations. And of course, then you're in harmony with truth and beauty. And all of a sudden, then you can say, and it's just right now, it's gossip. I'm up here, I'm sweating away, and I'm talking to you. It's just damn gossip. And so until you actually work with it yourself and start experiencing those feelings, you say, by golly, he's right. By golly, he's right. You know, now what? Now what? Okay, so now here's what we're going to do. The next step. I want you to get yourself with a pair. Partner up with somebody. You've been practicing this all day. Get up from your chairs. This is not a spectator sport. Grab somebody and turn your chairs around facing each other. Okay, all righty. So I want you to decide between the two of you. Decide between the two of you who's going to be person A and who's going to be person B. Okay? I want to see persons A, raise your hands. Persons A, you are going to be the alive person. And person A, I want you to put your hands up by your face, alive people. Person B, you're the image in the mirror. Uh-huh. Right. Okay, so person A, I want you to make funny faces and dance with your hands. And person B, I want you to mirror what you see. There we go. The alternative to meditation is play. So that's what we're doing. If we can't meditate, we can play. Okay, now switch. Person B, you're alive. You make the funny faces. And person A will mirror what they see. Okay, switch again. Person A, you're alive. Make those funny faces. Person B, you mirror. Don't quit. Keep it up. You're not high enough yet. Go on. You still look pretty sober to me. You're not going to get to heaven with your critical faculty, so quit staring at me and laugh. Okay, switch again. Switch again. Just do what the other person's doing. Mirror the other person. Okay, put your hands in your laps. Put your hands in your laps now. Put your hands in your laps. You didn't want to do this, now I can't get you to stop. Will you stop and put your hands in your laps, please? Close your eyes. Close your eyes. All right. Now I would like you to become aware of the feeling of the presence of your partner you were just playing with. Become aware of the feeling of the presence of this person who's sitting close to you. Your eyes are closed, but somehow in your imagination pretend that your heart can reach out and make a heart connection with this person. And do it as if you've never done this before and you want to see what will happen. Don't make anything happen. God, don't pray for them or send them light, please. Just make a heart connection and see what happens when you come into heart connection. And I'm going to be quiet for a couple of minutes while you just explore this feeling of heart connection with this other person. What happens and what is it like? Okay, now, just very gently withdraw from that contact experience and return your focus to yourself and your own body. Take a big stretch and wiggle your fingers and your toes and open your eyes. And just share with your partner what you experienced during the time of silence. Just share with each other what you experienced during the silence. Okay, let's put those conversations on pause, please. They put those conversations on pause. Now, why did we're doing this pantomime at the beginning? Like I said, when you can't meditate, play. A lot of this, and Casey uses a different language, but boils down to a willingness to improvise or to get into a flow. Set an intention and then get into the flow and let it happen. Now we don't learn how to do stuff like that. We don't learn how to set intention and let things happen. We're always trained to make things happen. So as soon as you turn your attention to your breathing, you always say, well, forget about God, I can do a better job. And we're just like that, constantly. Let's follow God's will, but first let's get things right because we know what's best. It's just very difficult, very difficult. So playing, some tricks us into enjoying and things start happening, kind of thing. Because we got to get in line for the pure joy of it, not because it's going to increase your bank account or you're going to get ahead in the world. You're still going to die. Okay? All righty. Now, what we're doing this phase, I look at you as like goldfish that don't know you're in water. Okay? And so you struggle really hard to communicate with each other because you've somehow got to overcome this separation. You just don't get it that you're all in water. It's so easy. Now, the water we're all in is the mind. But we don't experience it that way normally. We have this illusion that this is stuck to the wall. We have this illusion that we're separate. Look at your partner over there. You're separate from him right now. Close your eyes for a second. Things get a little hazy. It gets a little hazy. Now, if you want to leave now, that's fine before all the action starts. Okay, well then, you think you want to go on? Okay, well get a different partner then. Don't become attached. We are not learning to be psychic. We are learning to break the illusion of separateness. You see? Yeah, that's right. That's it. Jump in quick. Okay. All right. All right. You keep looking up here. That's not where the action is. There you go. All right, we're going to go into it different this time. Let's close our eyes. Let's close our eyes. We're going to close our eyes. Close our eyes. Close our mouths. Breathe through your nose. I can be aware of my breathing and let it be. I'm learning how to let go and let Spirit breathe me. I'm learning to trust these inspirations. Just empathize with the feeling of each exhalation, the relaxation that is inherent in each and every exhalation. And develop the wonderful experience of allowing yourself to relax a little bit more each time the breath flows out, so that you can become receptive to enjoying a feeling of the air coming to you freely as a gift. Just dial down the sunshine so the stars can come out. Relax as the air flows out. It's your act of faith. And then rejoice when the breath returns as inspiration. Not me breathing me, but life breathes me. And I'm grateful for the inspiration. Just see what it's like to feel grateful for your breath, recognizing that you are being allowed to witness a very special miracle that we take for granted. The activity of spirit as breath in our body. And the more that you have of a genuine gratitude for that feeling, you can experience your heart opening up with neither hopes nor fears, not grasping, needing anything, but able to experience everything. Casey says, the purpose of the heart is to know yourself, to be yourself, and one with all. So now very gently and gradually come to know this other part of yourself that's sitting in front of you, reaching out with your heart towards your new partner, as if you could embrace your partner with your heart wings of love and draw them close to you so that you could experience you and your partner as being one. And as you do that, just let go of the controls and notice what spontaneously happens in your thoughts and daydreams. Just allow that experience to unfold on its own. Okay, relax and release this experience. Taking a deep breath and stretching, wiggling your fingers and your toes, and coming out of that frame of mind. And share with your partner what you experienced during that silence. All righty, let's put these conversations on hold, please. Let's pause our conversations, please. Now, there is no right here. There is no answer. There is no solution. What I'm gradually doing through a process that I've worked with a number of times is starting to give you a feel for something. Now, we know from hundreds and hundreds of your stories that when you do this, either sometimes you're sitting there and you feel energy or light going back and forth between you and the other person. How many of you have had some kind of experience like that? Something happens back and forth. I call that's the general separation experience, because you know you're sitting in a chair and the other person's sitting in a chair, and you're in a certain state of consciousness where you process information that way. Healers are often in that state, and they see the lights coming back and forth. They know that they're there and the other person's over there and so on. So you were aware three-dimensionally. The other, and for a lot of people, this seems to happen, quote, by mistake. The person will say, we were sending energy back and forth. Even though I said, don't send, you don't have to do anything, men. You think we're full of, well, it's all men here. You don't have to do anything. I'm feeling this energy, and all of a sudden I realized I was daydreaming. I lost my concentration and I had to come back. How many of you have had that experience? Okay. Now, when you, quote, lose your concentration and go on a daydream, those are times of merger. You and the other person are as one. You're not aware, you're not processing being a separate person from them. In fact, that's the time, that's during those moments that, to use that outmoded word energy, that's when you feel your energies interacting, and you can see it in those kind. Others, you're having thoughts about it, impressions about it, and so on, about the other person. Are you separated from this other person? Take a look. Now close your eyes. Depends on what you want to pay attention to. You're going to pay attention to what you see or the vibe. And that's another channel. And it has its own vocabulary, and it's going to bring you its own world. There's the sensory world. What about this other world? Okay, now, how many of you so far have found, you've done this with two people so far. You've not really been given any instructions as to, quote, what you're supposed to experience. I know that's horrible. But rather, in discussing with one another, are you beginning to suspect that something is happening during the silence between you? Has anybody gotten any suspicions from talking to anybody that maybe something is going on between you during the silence? Anybody? All right. Well, ma'am, what would be your evidence that makes you suspicious? What would you say? The feedback. What? The feedback. What about the feedback? It's either affirming or not. Well, I can't hear you, but she's probably saying, based on hundreds of interviews, that the feedback I get from the person, we have a similar experience. That's one kind of thing. But that's not the only. Lots of times you don't have the similar experience. And that's going to be a very important principle when we get to the second period. You talk about if we're doing an arithmetic test, you should all get the same answer, right? If we're playing psychic, what's hidden in the bowl, we should all get the same answer, right? But here what we're going to do, it's not going to be like we get, quote, the same answer. Well, you train to look like, here's what I see in you. And if we're being objective, we should all see the same thing. But what if we say instead, here's what you bring up in me? Now, in oneness language, we work with, here's what you bring up with me, not here's what I see in you. Okay? There's a big difference. Not only is there a big difference in the information that you want to work with, but also the implications and where we're headed. Remember, when I walked in here, I said, okay, you've had your psychic training and you're all psychic. Now what? Now we're going to learn to live in a world of oneness. Oh, you're cooties! What are we going to do about all the cooties out there when we learn to live in a world of oneness? Yeah, well, no one ever discusses that except me. Because I know what's on everybody's mind, whether you admit to it or not. Because the whole idea of oneness brings up perhaps an image, too, of not necessarily everything you getting to design and control and everything. All we meet is self, but we don't, all of self is beyond what we might be as our kin. Okay, now, so one thing, maybe something is going on from the conversations you've had. Is there anything that's suggesting to you that maybe it's real? That something gets real during that silence? The contact is real? Anybody experience anything that might make you think that? Yeah, what?
I just feel so still.
Steady? Still, uh-huh.
And I'm not normally still in my mind.
Uh-huh. Like you could almost something you could anchor onto in that, huh?
Yeah.
The person's presence. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. He's coming with a microphone so other people will be able to hear you.
She was feeling light, and that was what she was feeling and kind of projecting, and that's the first thing I saw. I saw sunshine. That's kind of how I saw it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, wait, I'll be sending you some stuff afterwards. I have a handouts, and there's a huge long article about the different things people experience during this that make them feel that maybe this is real. Like I said, this first part, what I'm wanting to do is to introduce the goldfish to water. That there's something that we're all swimming in. We can call it the mind. We experience our mind as being between our ears. And I want you to experience it as being out here. And we all have our heads stuck in it. Stuck in it. We're all plugged in to mind, kind of thing. Okay, all righty. And how we come to experience the events in this mind happens through something that feels like it's mind, what would you call them? Daydreaming, just mind flow and so on, not directed thought as when you're trying to work on a puzzle. It happens to you rather than you make it up. Although it feels often like you're making up. Carol Ann, I know, talks about that a lot in terms of just the psychic training. It feels like you're making it up. We're going to where we're using the breath, we're going to a very core reality. And that is, how do you choose to shape your perception? Is it all you, or is there something else? And we're talking about, you see, a person will say, well, if it comes from me, I don't know if I trust it. But if it comes from afar, well, then it's an inspiration, it's a gift. And they made such a separation in their whole self-esteem and so on that it's really defeating from the very get-go. All right. How many of you would say that perhaps it's intimate sitting there in that silence? So anybody would say that it's intimate? Does it feel it during the time, or is it after the talking? During the time. Both. Now, you're in accord with what the statistics are. I mean, like I said, I've taught many, many, many people. We pretty much know about this territory, although as people we don't. It's very unusual territory to us. The experiential mind, the phenomenal mind, that you would say it's intimate, says a lot about how you're actually experience this nothing. You're sitting there in silence. If you go to the mall and ask what is intimacy, they're going to talk about sex and body parts and sharing feelings. But none of that was going on. You were sitting in silence. Now, from working with this a long time, we have other goals, but I can't help but talk about this stuff because I'm a professor and I don't have control over my mouth. But I'm also growing older too, and I used to be able to, I could go off on tangents and come back to where I was, and as I'm getting older, I lose my place more. I don't know if any of you older folks are finding that, you know, it is. I don't know what I was going to say. I don't. Forget it. I'm having to get used to that. It's not easy. What were we talking about? What's our title tonight? Intimacy. Yes. Oh, right. Okay. That here's what it is. Here's what I've now defined intimacy from this research. I mean, I spent years having people do this and talking to hundreds and hundreds of people who've been going through this. I got well cited for this article I wrote in the Jungian Journal. Groundbreaking research. How do you teach the goldfish about water? Okay. That intimacy is something like this. I am aware that I am allowing you to co-create with me my sense of me. When I, as a woman, say I let you in, what I'm saying is I'm letting you affect how I see myself. Would you agree? Yes, exactly. I had to talk to a lot of women because the women know about intimacy, but as long as I kept my hands in my pockets, we did okay. To kind of go in the deep, beyond the cliches. Because how are we going to deal with one another's cooties once we decide, okay, we're going to live a psychic life, is a big issue. You're laughing. But it's a big issue. We can hardly get along without the psychic stuff. You know? All right. Okay. All right. So, let's get another partner. We're getting some confidence here that maybe although we're playing around, the playing around is so that we can be aware of other aspects of ourselves and something very real is happening. And after the break, we're going to put it to the test. Okay, now let's close our eyes. Let's close our eyes. I can be aware of my breathing and let it be. I'm learning how to let go and let Spirit breathe me. I'm learning how to trust these inspirations. Empathize with the feeling of the exhalation so that you can start that process of relaxing and letting go that will allow you to become more and more comfortable and aware of the spontaneous natural breathing, the inspirations that are coming to you freely. The more profoundly you relax and let go as the air flows out, the more intently will you be able to experience that feeling of being taken care of as the air comes in. Not me breathing me, but life breathes me. Thank you. Thank you. And just allow yourself to come to enjoy this feeling so that the giving thanks grows naturally in response to the wonderful pleasure that you get from feeling supported by life as you release the responsibility of breathing turning over the responsibility of breathing in this particular meditation gives you confidence in that life force, inspiration, flow, movement. And giving thanks for what you're experiencing opens up the heart. And just experiment with feeling grateful and thank you, and see if you can really form an authentic smile. If the pleasure you're experiencing can make your mouth smile, you will feel a rush down your body, an endorphin rush. It's the last letting go of any vestige of holding out judgmentalness about whether this whole thing is really a crack or is it really something. And letting go into it, yes. And now in that state of yes, of the heart open, the love flowing, just allow your awareness to expand until it includes the awareness of the presence of your partner that you're sitting in front of. And just as your partner has awareness that's expanding, the two of your awarenesses can come together in a heart connection. You can embrace your partner and experience them as if they were a part of you. And just see what happens. Just let your daydream unfold spontaneously. Just see, notice what happens. And I'm going to be quiet now. Okay, very gently and gradually withdraw from the contact experience and slide back into yourself, focusing on your own body. Taking a deep breath, wiggling your feet, fingers and your toes, stretch and open your eyes, and share with your partner what you experienced. Okay, let's put the conversations on pause, please. Let's pause the conversations. Now, in this paper about this particular process of discovering the mind, we called it Close Encounters in the Liminal Zone, meaning kind of you're coming together in some kind of borderland area. It's interesting, I was seeing this pair here, the lady was going like this with her hands, you know, if you say the sideways. This is like a figure eight. There's a picture in that article from a book, a guy named Mantak Chia. He writes a lot of books on energy and so on, and Eastern healing. And he shows these two people sitting in a chair, just little diagrams. And then what's happening between them is there's like a kundalini that's going up. And that's exactly, I used to pass out drawings. You see the two people sitting and ask you people to make drawings of what was happening between you. And a lot of people would draw that. And we use that, again, as confirmation. Not only are the humans capable of detecting that something is real, but by their comments and drawings relative to ancient literature and so on, they are definitely tapping into real spaces or real experiences that are known about. Okay? So although we're, quote, just playing, to the extent that I get you to not try to structure the experience, but be more open to how it unfolds, you are retracing a path that's been known about from a long time ago in terms of qualities of the mind we're talking about or whatever, and the interaction and whatnot. Now, when it comes up into love, one of the things, I don't like cliches, and one of the cliches we're getting a lot these days is vibrations, you know, good vibrations, high vibrations, and so on, you know, and I'm vibrating, and it's got to be a metaphor, but a metaphor for what? You know, because vibration really means going back and forth, right, between two polar opposites or two complementary realities. And when I started seeing people do this kind of a drawing, I realized we finally know what the love vibration is. The love vibration is, I am you, I am not you. I am you, I am not you. I am you, I am not you. That when you think about it a lot, what is you have love, it's for something it's other than. But when you have love for other than, it's like you draw yourself and you're one, but then you're not one. It wouldn't be love if you were one, but then you are one, and so on. That kind of coming together like that. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go into part 2. And for part 2, we're going to use the fact that somehow we're starting to realize that there's water. We're in our minds. We're all in this common mind. And how can we work together in this common mind to be helpful, that this is useful? How are we going to be helping one another, okay? So what I want us to do is let's get into small groups of about 6, and this is a good time if you have to go potty to go potty. But we're going to break into groups because this next part we're going to do in a group type of format. So arrange your chairs, get in little groups of maybe 6. 4 is not very many people. I'd like to have at least 6 in your group. You want to be surrounded by 5 experts. Surround yourself with 5 experts. What? I can't hear what you're saying. What?
Restroom for just a minute.
Yeah. Well, if you're grown-ups, I guess you can handle it. You can go to potty, come back to your spot, things like that. We're going to start in 5 minutes. We're going to come into these groups. Okay, I'm going to take advantage of this time. If you're in your group, here's a sign-up sheet for you. And I want you all to have, we're going to use this later, each of you to get one of these. Where's 1, 6 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each get one of these. For our little game we're going to play. Oh, yeah. Each group gets one of these. And here, let me have with you. And each person gets one of these. If you want to handle that, that would be great. And I have some more. Okay. We don't want that. Yes. We want this is here. This is trash. You hold that.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
And yep. I tore that one. Good. Here's another trash.
Okay.
How you having fun?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take the trash now from you.
thank
All right, right. Oh, you got some? Okay. We're passing things out. Where's the trash can? There's a trash can, all righty. All right, when you come back and you're in your group, you should have a sign-up sheet if you want the email material, post-conference email material I'll be sending you. And we're getting letters for everybody. Everybody's getting their little love letter and envelope. Here you go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What's that?
My pen. Do we need my pen?
Yeah, you'll need a pen. Here you go. This is the sign-up sheet. Oops, excuse me. Hey.
Hiya, Henry. How you doing?
Oh, you gotta be these days. Here's one. What? You need one? You got one here? Oh, no. Oh, okay, good. Good. Huh?
What is it we're doing with this?
I haven't explained yet.
Oh, you haven't explained it.
All right, everybody should have a blank love letter envelope. Letter to Santa, letter to God. And hopefully in your group you got a sign up sheet. If you want the post-conference materials I'll be sending out, you sign up. Here's one, yes. Otherwise, you can borrow one from another group when they finish signing up. Okay. So, we're going to be, we're going to play a very special game. And I have to teach you first how the game goes. And then you'll get to play it in your group. And you're going to have a wonderful experience doing a group reading for somebody through love letters. Not really, but I came across this great paper here on the way over. I want to use it. So we're here, we're gathered. Okay, now listen up. Every one of you, I want you to imagine, every one of you have had millions of experiences. Think about that. Millions of experiences. What do we mean by an experience? A moment in time where you were in front of something, perceiving something, learning something, something was happening to you. It could be the time that you first had a job and you counted out change and you had, I got to know how to do this. Or the time that you planted corn for the first time and you watched it come up. Or the time that you got that C+ in a paper you never gotten a C before. Or the time you're driving down the car and you realize you were going to run out of gas. There's a zillions and zillions of experiences. Now your task is this. Put all of those experiences, each and every one, in its own little ping pong ball. So now when we get this giant globe, a giant soul experience lottery globe, that it has, your globe has the millions of ping pong balls inside of it. And inside of those millions of ping pong balls, each one holds an experience that you've had this lifetime. Now, think about this for a second. When you die and you're out floating around in soul land, what do? We do life reviews. It's a natural activity of the soul to review memories and learn from them. You follow me? Soul and memory are very much interlinked because without the concept of memory, soul doesn't even make sense. We have the idea of far memory. That we're here to learn. So every one of our experiences is a potential lesson. You follow me? Okay. Now your task is this, to get out of your way. What we want to be able to do is rotate your big lottery ball of experiences, and without you influencing it in any way, let one pop out. You think you can do that? So here, in your mind, grab onto your bowl of experiences and start shaking it around. Shaking it around, and you say, I want to be surprised by a memory that I haven't thought of for a long time. It could be an insignificant memory. I don't really care. And just swing all your memories around, and I'm going to count to 3. We're going to go round 1, round 2, round 3. When I clap my hands, you're going to have a memory pop out. 1, 2, 3. How many of you had a memory pop out? Very good. We'll only have to have one more practice session. Okay. That's very good. Because some people haven't discovered yet that they have memories. Okay? So they were waiting. So we'll do it one more time. What the memory is or how important, that's not really important. We're not trying to influence what we get. We're learning how to be really open, really open. Let Spirit send you the memory. All right, so let's rotate the ball again. 1, 2, 3. Let a memory pop out. Okay. Now, what I'd like you to do is this. Think about your memory for a moment as a teaching story. Pretend that your memory is symbolic, metaphoric, a parable. What can you learn tonight about yourself from that memory? What does that memory have to teach you? Just think about it. What truth, what piece of wisdom can you derive from your memory? Okay. How many of you were able to do that? Raise your hands. Most all of you. Okay, very good. Now, in this book I'm going to send you, The Intuitive Heart, we talk about the Dream Helper ceremony, and we're asking this question. How can they do that? How can people dream for somebody else? And using something in the Casey readings, the best service we can give to another person is when we can speak from our own experience. So I asked myself, would it be possible to do the daytime equivalent of the Dream Helper by using memories? And that book that I'll send you describes the history of the research that brought that about. Tonight, you're going to get to experience it. In your group, are you in a group of at least 5 or 6 people? Anybody in a group that's smaller than that? Anybody in a group that's smaller than that? Okay. You all should have one of these little blanks. If you don't, let me bring you one. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to write down a question, something that you would care about. A letter to God, a letter to Santa. We're using this paper because you can fold it over and seal it. Oh, you have a pencil. That's what you need. Okay. What's going to happen is this. Everybody in your group is going to get to write out a question. It's going to get sealed up, and they're going to get put on the floor in the middle of your group. So you're not going to be able to tell whose question is what. But right now, what you're doing is that you come up with a question that you'd like a reading on, that you care about. That if the group happens to get your envelope, they're not wasting their time because you're asking some question about, will there still be Social Security when the Martians land? Make it real and about you, something you need to know, would like to know regarding your situation, your life, and write it on that piece of paper, and then you can fold it up. The thing folds and it seals over like that, and you'll have them on the floor in the middle of your group. When we've got that far, we will go on. But right now, everybody's coming up with a question. Write down your question. Make it something you care about. Casey says that you get the best readings when the question, there's a sincere need to know. It's not just for fun and games to see if we can do that. Now, if you don't want to contribute a question, no one's going to make you. But I'm leading you through something that you will be able to continue with this around your dining room table if you wish. It's very simple but very powerful. I was reading a book on what is the difference, the major difference between indigenous peoples and us gringos. And one of the things is that indigenous people get together as groups for healing. We tend to go by ourselves, one-on-one with a doctor. And they like to involve the family and the community, and that's pretty much across all indigenous cultures. And so Edgar Cayce brings in an indigenous quality where he talks about the importance of the small group. The importance of the small group. And so I've always tried to consistently the things that I've invented for the small group, because there is the creation in miniature that way. Are we still working on our questions? Is there any group that's still working on their questions? Raise your hand. All right, so you got your questions down on the ground. So now as a group, I want you to look at your pile of questions and let's pray over them. That you're going to have somebody pull one question out, one envelope out. So what we want to do is pray over them that the question that will serve us the best for our learning and our development be the question that's picked, okay? Some questions could be too challenging. Some questions might be difficult, but there's one of those questions that would be just right for us to cut our teeth on. So say that prayer and then have somebody pull out one of those questions, but not to open it, and separate that one question from the rest. So when you've done that, we can go on. You pull off the rest of the questions to the side, and there's just one question that's left in the middle, and it's on the floor there for you to focus on. We don't know whose question is. It doesn't matter. Is any group, are we all ready to move on to the next part? Okay. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to guide you through what we call the inspired heart meditation, where we get into our breath so that we can get in a place of surrender and trust. And then when we get in there, I'm going to ask that you, just like we did with the memory bowl, that we'll say a prayer, that you'll let Spirit, not you, but you let Spirit choose one of your memories. It's probably a dumb memory. You don't think it has to be an inspiring one. Choose a memory that will be used as a story on this question that you don't know yet. Okay? So you're all directing your attention and your intention toward that one hidden question in the middle of your group. And you're all going to come up with personal memories that tell stories, and we'll see how it relates to the question. All right? So you're coming together kind of like in a seance for the sake of one another. And since we're talking about what does it bring up in me, you're all doing a little bit of sharing. Everybody's equal here. It's a wonderful salad or stew of spiritual wisdom as we reflect on our experiences. That's a soul activity, to reflect on your experiences. Okay, so here we go. So let's close our eyes now and turn our attention inward to our breathing. That we can learn how to become in harmony with our breathing, which is the activity of the Spirit in our bodies. And as we become in harmony with our breathing, since there's only one Spirit, we'll all be coming in harmony together with the Spirit of truth, love, and wisdom. So turn your attention to the exhalations. And with each and every exhalation, focus on the feeling of the letting go. And allow yourself to relax, little bit by little bit. Letting go of thoughts about how this is all going to happen. Letting go of thoughts about what memory might come to you. Just letting all of that go. And instead enjoying being carried by the breath. Just follow the path of enjoyment of the breath. Letting go of the old. Accepting the new. It feels so good to be able to relax with the breathing, lay down the harness of the job, and let Spirit do the work. I can be aware of my breathing and let it be. I'm learning how to let go and let Spirit breathe me. And I'm grateful for these inspirations. Just find yourself in that place where you're very relaxed, and more of the incoming breaths feel like they're happening spontaneously, and less is being required of you. Give thanks for this gift of breath. Appreciate and enjoy this feeling of the air, fresh air, new air coming to you. And you feel some appreciation for this gift from God, this gift from life that's there for you. Even and especially when you're not paying attention to it. And here now we are paying attention to it, and we're in a position to notice, to be grateful, to give thanks. And as we give thanks, we notice that it affects how we experience ourselves. Feeling grateful starts to create some changes in our body. We can especially feel the changes in the chest area, for the heart responds to gratitude the way a flower responds to the sun, warming, softening, unfolding, blossoming with love. Just allow that wonderful feeling of your heart blossoming out with love. And anything that comes to mind, it's like you feel one with it, riding on the waves of love. And direct your heart awareness to the envelope that's on the floor in the middle of your circle. As if you could somehow reach out with your heart and make a heart connection with it. Now you're aware that it contains somebody is asking a question, but why bother thinking of what the question might be? Because we're coming from such a place of abundance. Our hearts are overflowing. We're trusting in the rightness of our breath and inspiration. That if we just say the prayer to Spirit, direct into my mind a memory, which when I share it aloud with my companions and we read the question, we'll be able to find some wisdom in my memory that will help the person who asked this question, as well as bring up wisdom in me. So just ask Spirit to do the work. And we start rotating our lottery bowl full of all of those memories, letting them spin around. We set the intention and state the prayer. Spirit, now direct into my attention a specific memory that I will be able to share aloud with my group, and it will be related to the question that is written on that envelope. At the count of 3, accept that first memory that comes. 1, 2, and 3. Accept that first memory that comes. What's going on? What was happening? What led up to this situation? What's the backstory on this moment? How did things turn out? What happened? And now, you, as an adult here in September of 2015, and you look back on that memory, what would you say is the teaching story, the takeaway from that memory? What do you have to learn about yourself and about life from reflecting on that memory? Okay, now let's open our eyes and take a deep breath and wiggle our fingers and our toes. And what will happen is you go around this circle, and I suggest that you just tell your memory for right now until everybody's had a chance to tell their memory. Then when all of the memories have been told, you can open up the envelope and read the question. All of the memories are going to be different, or there are going to be a lot of differences in the memories, so you have to look behind them. What's the theme? What's going on? What are the truths? And that's when you engage that second part. So now take turns and share the memories. Share the memories with each other that you got. Until you've shared all the memories, then open up the envelope and read the question.
And it was difficult because we
Okay, I'm going to see how this turns out.
I'm going to buy land in Florida. I'm going to buy land in Florida.
Am I going to? That was my question.
Am I going to
Is it
buy
supposed to be a
land in Florida?
question?
Yeah, am I? It's a
Oh,
question.
What is her question?
Am I going to
am
buy
I going
land
to buy
in
land
Florida?
in Florida?
Uh-huh.
And for my dream, it was disregard what other people are saying and go and do it.
Uh-huh.
My dream was about moving.
Yeah.
It would be good news. I've been thinking a lot about it. I've been thinking a lot about it in the past year, talking about land, talking about a lot.
And you build and you go, right?
It seems like one thing that you are working with, okay, is the memories can be very different, but underneath there's kind of a common theme. If you're impressed, then you could go and guide yourselves and take another one.
Oh, before you did.
Yeah, before you, yeah, when.
English is the second language. Oh, there you go. And Minnesotan. So,
Wait, now wait. What's the next?
You're all self-directing. I'm just walking around eavesdropping.
Okay.
Where are you?
We finished our memories.
Oh, okay. Well, then open up and read the question.
And see how it relates?
Yeah, you see how it relates. It's usually in the themes of your memories, not the literal details. The details are probably all different.
Okay, so what is the question?
What is the best way to help my daughter and her family?
Take her down to the store and clean the house. Teach your grandmother how to read it. Is that your letter? No. So what is the best way to teach my daughter?
What is the best way to help my daughter and her new family?
Okay, so what did we gather?
Family, or
Yeah.
like she's married and has children.
Okay, so we all have like family.
Where are you?
We're the last.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. Huh. My goodness. I'm on TV. Huh?
Can you see yourself?
Yeah, I see there, but where is the camera?
So you're just coming back to see yourself.
We use the same memory, right?
No, you got to start all over again. Come on, start all over again. And you can do it yourselves.
That's why I said next time.
You're grown-ups. You're allowed to do this on your own.
Okay, we've gone around with their story. Now we open this right.
Right,
and each
now
one
open that.
tells how their story relates to the lesson.
Yeah, open it up. Read the question. And you'll need to probably look behind the scenes of your memories, the underlying themes. Your memories are all different, right? But it's underlying themes and drama. That you,
My house fell before the end of the year.
they asked a prophecy question. That's interesting. There's too much psychic influence, prophecies. Someone else asked the same question. Someone else asked that same question. You're asking for a prophecy, right?
Right.
Right,
So that we can do
Well, no, well, sure. I mean, they did it.
that? Okay. Go for it. Remember how you.
Yes.
At what point do we pick this up? And
What's that?
at what point do we pick this up?
Have you gone around and shared all the memories? Then you pick it up, yeah, and read it. I'm sorry that you didn't hear that. And then after you read the memory, you'll go around, what do your memories have symbolically or metaphorically or themes what do they have to say about that?
Yeah, she almost came up with a vision, not a memory from her own life.
I don't care what you come up with. What does it mean? What does it suggest? You know, the reasons why memories are so good is because they come from you. Edgar Casey talks about in your experience. Visions, you don't necessarily recognize how they come from you, and so you don't know what to say about them. You have to go deeper to talk about your visions, but you don't have to go so deep to talk about your memories because you know they came from you. That's the reason we use memories, because visions can sometimes, how would you call it, make you impotent, because you thought, oh, a vision came, but how should I know what it means? And if you're lucky, like some of those, you'll be able to start all over again and do somebody else's question. Huh? What's that? Yeah, you couldn't be finished. Life's too complex. So you shared your memories, and you opened up the envelope.
Not yet.
Oh, what do you mean?
We were waiting for it. We thought you were.
No. I told you to do the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
I gave you permission. In fact, if you're lucky, you'll get to do another one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, once you've told the memories, open up the thing, read the question, share how your memories might relate, and if you have enough time, you can go to a different envelope and get a new set of memories. And you can help more than one person in your group.
How can I best use my intuition to help others, especially clients I work with?
So where are you at in the process? What stage are you at?
Just read our question.
So what do you do next?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm glad I happened to be here then. I was wondering. So now you go around and everybody talk about how your memory pertains. What can you learn from your memory that helps this question? And then when you're done, you can pick another envelope and get new memories for somebody else. No?
Myself. No.
What?
Should we move on to another one, or?
Yeah. How did it work? You guys just cramming the candy down, or are you thinking about it a little bit?
No.
How did it go?
It went well.
Did you feel it was you felt you were helped by it? So it was a worthwhile thing. You want to do it again? You know how to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, you pick an envelope.
And then we
And
all
you can
close
go
our
to
minds
minds
and
and
feel
let
like the eggs going
right,
around
yeah,
and
let them
then we
remember
come out,
exactly.
all right?
So, okay, you got it. Very good. Go for it. You're allowed. I give you permission. You're empowered. You're certified. What's this group here?
We're the volunteers. We did our own little thing.
Oh,
That's
good,
right, we're
good.
doing great too.
We're a
Uh-huh.
group of 3.
Okay, that's fine.
And
That's
we
fine.
found it was remarkable.
Were you told? Are you instructed to isolate yourselves from others?
That's right, we were.
You were? Okay. I mean, I hear that sometimes that they're given instructions to look separate and so on. Whereas
Don't have a
me,
good
I say
time.
just go in and be a part of it.
Go
Oh,
after
yeah,
Mary.
okay.
Talking about the clear mind.
So will it be different? I mean, what is it?
It's been a long time.
Yeah,
Long time. A lot of stuff has gone
know.
down.
quite a lot, yeah.
We never would have suspected.
Really? But you know what? It made me stronger, better. Really? Oh, yeah. Yeah, really. Life, interesting.
I don't even recognize this place. I was telling Janice it's like I go into a doctor's office now. You know, come here,
Really,
all
you
the new
think?
buildings, they're so clean and polished, and everything's in its place,
you
all
like
brand new
that?
stuff. That's fine.
I
You're
like
used to it and going in the doctor.
Well, I mean,
you know.
remember that the heavy, ponderous curtains?
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
those curtains?
Uh-huh.
This is so much better.
What I really liked was when they introduced that little light that looked like it was sundown. You know, is this some kind of like a little orange light? It would be a little thicker, a little like the opposite of a shadow,
Right.
a little stroke of light.
Yeah, this guy, I mean, he's really sharp.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's been, it's good.
And now they're having to renew this already. I mean, this has only been around, what they said, is 40 years. I can't believe this building has been here 40 years.
They're collecting money to redo this.
I know. I was here before then. That means I was here
You
more
were
than
before.
40 years ago. My God.
Yeah, that's
know.
all right. You know, that's good. That's good.
My friends
Yeah.
are grandparents. What, you had kids?
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
grandparents.
yeah, really?
Oh, my God.
I know, geez, what do you mean? I know, I hear you. But you know, I feel like we're really lucky because we know those people. I mean, have you gone up in that restaurant?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
see all those photographs
Oh,
of everybody?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, they sit in there and they actually come and wait on you.
I know, I know.
Couldn't believe it. I couldn't
Who
believe
knew?
it.
Who knew? Yeah.
Well, now we can be like everybody else.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Yeah. A whole different vibe. Right. From ARE camp, right?
Yeah.
Well, have you been up there since the building burned down?
You know, I did. We went there one day for I forget what the occasion was. Camp hadn't opened yet. The dining hall was segregated. I don't even know what we came down for.
Okay.
I don't even remember. But what was it to eat? Because they hadn't put the tent up for the new dining hall.
Yeah.
And then the day we were going to go to bring our animals in the square dance and all adult retreat, somehow it slipped our mind and we didn't go. So we didn't do any camp this year.
Okay.
And I don't know why we were there. that was disappointing. The ones that I've heard, you know. How are we doing? You did fine? Was it worthwhile?
Yes.
Do you feel that you can help one another now with your lives? You trust these people?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well then you're dismissed. You've passed. How's it going?
Good. Really well.
Were you able to help each other with your memories and your questions? Okay, so you know you don't need a psychic anymore, huh? You guys can continue on.
Well, that's what we were kind of talking about a little bit ago.
Okay, well then you pass the course, and you can leave when you're ready.
We've graduated.
Very good, very good.
Wonderful, Henry. Wonderful.
Has it been good? You've been able to help one another with your memories?
Right on.
So you can do this at home? All right, very good. Then you pass. You're allowed, you can leave now. You're allowed to leave.
Do we get a present?
Huh?
Do we get a present?
You will get, if I got your email address, you will get a present in the mail from me, the book, and so on.
Do you want to take these back home?
What's that?
Would you like to keep those? You
Okay,
You can put them
okay.
in your pocket.
Okay,
'Cause
thank you.
I threw away that packaging. Is
Yeah,
that
okay.
right?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Okay. Am I on? Is the mic on? I think we're coming to the end. How many groups you feel that you were able to help somebody in your group with your memories? Yeah, see, it does work. You can do this at home. I encourage you to try this at home. If you're signed up, I will be sending you the follow-up material. I have a book, descriptions, a meditation on how to do this that you'll be able to use. If you don't, okay, well you won't get my new stuff.
Oh, I was on the list over there. You had over there.
Okay. Anyway, it's 9 o'clock. It's time for let the people that need to do stuff to close up. So we're done. There's your cue. All right. Very good. Very good.